The last 18 or so hours have been extraordinary. We received a lot of rain and now the sun has come out and you can definitely see that this is green, and partially it is because of the Bermuda grass that is now getting a boost from all this additional moisture. So like I've been saying, this is pretty sad for all those farmers who had lost their crop because there was no rain, and now it rains. But in our case, as we try to have plants for summer, this is phenomenal. And as you can see here, this part of that seasonal creek is also filled, and I will show you the pond. From a distance I could already see that the missing water level is back. So all that rain and also what was flowing here, you can see that it was flowing, has been put back. So there was a meter missing, and I'm pretty sure that is back. Of course it's not all the rainfall that fell directly onto the pond, it's because the creek brought a lot of water from its catchment area further up on the neighbor's land, I have to say. So we control only the last piece, and the neighbor, who unfortunately does nothing, they have the catchment area. That is where those leaky weirs and all these other good ideas should be implemented, but I have no say there. There was a duck, a wild duck. So the pond is back at the original level, and there's more rain in the forecast, so it might then overflow. So there on the other side, let me show you this detail. It is filled, and tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, on Monday there's a 70% chance of more rain. The weekend seems to be a little bit less rainy, which is good. And you can see with the rain and the sunshine, all the things that we have been doing, the management of removing the animals after they have been concentrated and left the manure and urine, this now should pay a dividend. Because it's that stuff here, the Synodondactylon, the Bermuda grass. That is summer forage, and I'm very, very happy that we managed to bring it back. And here in that creek, when the excavator was there, he built some sediment traps. So this is areas where it is a lot deeper, and the idea is to slow it down. So it's a different flavor of a leaky weir, so to say. It slows down the water and holds it for longer, and the idea is the sediment can then settle until it continues to flow when more is coming. So this is about a meter deep. So there is kind of the wall, and then it's a meter deeper here, and that has the very same function. And there are two. So that was the one, and there you see the next one. And of course the fort there serves as such a trap as well. So now this is the third structure, and around the corner, some 50 meters upstream, there is another one. So we have all these things in place to slow the water down and keep it for longer on our land. But on the other side of that wall there, I have no say. And that is where the major part of this creek lies. So there is the breach in the wall, and on the other side I have no say. And those people there, they won't listen. They are old, they sold their animals to the tenant, and now the tenant uses their land to keep the sheep. And of course the sheep are kept in the traditional way, and it's an exploitation thing. So in Spanish the word for a business is explotación, which is exploitation. And that is what's happening. This is just the way it is. So there is no investment in land or plants or anything like that. It's all about selling, in this case, the lambs. And they are being sold and slaughtered at 3 months of age. I find this weird, because if you know how to cook it, you don't need to cook to kill such a very young animal, which there's no meat. But traditionally, that is what people have been doing. So I have my opinion there, and I don't want to do that because it makes no sense to me. So I rather eat a sheep and cook it right instead of killing the babies just because their flesh is a little bit more tender. It's the same thing that I said lately regarding the calves. Yeah, in the case of the bovines, I also don't see a lot of sense that veal is cheaper and people buy it more than the actual beef. But that's a Spanish thing. And there are a lot of things that I don't understand. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy with where we are. But there are some things of Spanish culture that I don't get. But I respect that. And I have no issue other than I talk about it and find it a little bit strange or irritating, but to each their own, so no problem. These guys, a sizzle, are important. I learned that this is nature's way of making little holes, little pathways for water to infiltrate the soil because they decompact it. So now I do appreciate them, but of course I don't want a lot of them because it means I have bad soil. But they are helping to make the soil better. And with the rain that we have received so far, the thistles are thriving. So wherever you look, you can see a lot of them coming up. Because now there is nutrients from the bovines, plus the water, and a little bit of sunshine. And these places that are poor in soil conditions, they are now full with thistles. And like I said, I learned to appreciate them. So that is actually a good thing. Here in A7, the rain has filled those depressions that we created, and that water will then stay there for a little bit longer. That is very, very good. And I'm pretty sure I will do a walkabout tomorrow to see these things. That pond up there is also full of water. And like I said, there will be more. But my plan is to take you to all the places where we have water retention features and check them out and show them how they look like. But this here is very nice. We did not see it here in this area because the pigs weren't there. We did see it over there where it's green, and I will go there next. We turned out the horses here in this area, that's the driveway, so that they can eat what's left here, because in our zone B there's nothing left for them, so it's better to let them roam here in this area. And there's only 3 of them because Sakahawea is blind and she has to stay inside of her little corral. We had a vet here, he did the teeth and a few other things. I will probably show you a few still images and a short clip that I took on the phone, because apparently the teeth of a horse can cause the horse to eat a lot and not get nourished. And that apparently is what happened to her. But we're still waiting on the blood work to come back. Maybe there's also something else, but we're working on it, or the vet is, to get her fixed up. Now this is now the part of A7 that was formerly A7, and it's now the vetiver patch. And of course the natural grasses and flowers, they also come up here. And now take you over the fence here and have a look. So this is all coming up very, very nicely. The sunflowers are already big. The sun hemp for some reason is lagging a little bit behind, but I also see a few corn plants here, and the amapola, I forgot the English name that you told me. So all this is working. I see there something in the distance that looks like it were corn. There. So I'm happy with that. It is developing. And it did not cost us anything except the seed, because the work the pigs did. So that's a win situation. This here is the patch of vetiver in A5. We have another one in A6 around the corner. And they have been lacking behind a little bit for lack of moisture. But as you can see, they are now growing. Now the moisture is there. We have been irrigating, which is why around the tree this is green. But the heat is now missing, but the heat is now coming as we are going into summer. So this is perfect timing for this type of crop. And as you can see, there is the shade circle, and the shade circle is also where it is always greener, given that there is some plants and a little bit of moisture. So there is more of the vetiver. This vetiver should grow a little bit, and then we will dig it out in order to plant it elsewhere. So this will not stay. Step by step there will be less and less vetiver here in this area. But some of them are very little, and they need to grow a little bit more so that we can get some 50 slips out of each plant, and then it's worthwhile to take them elsewhere. So we keep this alive and let it grow, and when the time comes we take one plant out and then another one and another one until nothing is left, because this is not the right spot for it, and we plant them in other areas where the vetiver makes more sense. It was planted here because this is a little pond, and actually let's go there and have a peek if we can find some water in here. Well, there's a little bit. So when we dug this, we used that hose to fill it, and after several hours it was finally filled, but the next day it was empty, because the soil is very, very sandy and the water just infiltrates and flows away, and therefore that vetiver was planted. And then we decided, no, this is not the right place. Of course the vetiver all around might help to stabilize this, but plants change, and that was originally a pond for the pigs that were here in this area, and now we have abandoned the idea. But maybe we can put some vetiver around it just because we have it, and maybe this works. But for the time being I rather take these plants when they are big enough and use them where the 50 slips of each plant do a much better job. And after all, this is A4, which is not part of the area where we want to work now on a daily basis or multiple times a week. So this is more a thing to observe, and here and there come for something specific, like harvesting the vetiver. And this is now the vetiver in A6, which has grown a lot better. The plants here are much bigger, and you can see the sprinkler here. So when there is no rain, we make it by using our well. So this is looking good, and what it now needs is heat. A much older video shows some cows harvesting vetiver here. They used this, we used this as some emergency forage, and it was pretty helpful. So this has been grazed at least that one time. Vetiver is here since a while now. But again, like I said, it is to be harvested and planted or replanted elsewhere when the plant is big enough. So here in this area, next to the entrance to the compound, we had 3 Paulovnia tomentosa trees, but they died due to lack of water. And this time we are going to do this quite different. So I excavated to loosen it up, and also moved quite a bit of dirt to build a little bit of a berm there, because you might be able to see, let me show you this a little bit better, that there was kind of a funnel leading, sorry about the wind, just at that moment. So leading the water out in that direction. So maybe here in the shade of the tree it's less, but it does blow strong. I could cut this out, but let me give you an impression. Okay, so I think it's calming down now. So if I go to the low part, it probably is easier to understand. So now there's a little bit of barrier, and there will be vetiver on this end, and we threw out a bunch of seeds, Sunhemp and Friends, and there will be a sprinkler in the center on a 25mm pipe that gets controlled and fed from over there, where we have water with a good pressure pump, and then we can keep this well over the summer. And of course there will be some Paulovnia trees in here. I will see tomorrow how much will be left when I'm done planting those that we have. Probably I need to order a few more, and then this will be a similar area. So right now the idea is to apply this method, Sunhemp and Friends and Paulovnia, in all those different places in order to make soil and have a tree that helps us. And that means not necessarily that we want to keep all these trees around. We can cut them and chop them up into wood chips or something like that, because that's also one of these things that you can do with this very fast growing tree. But I'm mostly here in the compound after shade and as a natural air conditioning when the summer gets very hot. So we will see. So right now I like to plant as many of these as I can. The last batch is 48 trees. So when we're done, we have 48 trees here in the compound that weren't there before. And I hope that makes a difference. Oh, and someone was talking about the stalk and the water tower. Well, the water tower is there, but we cannot put a stork nest on top of it, because there are things that need to be accessible on top. So there is an opening, and that is to control the water level or do some maintenance, and also control the shut-off valve. It's an automated valve that sits somewhere up there. You couldn't see my finger. So that's not a place. We need to do something different. We could probably put this on one of these two buildings there, but we need to figure out how. One of my idea was to use this place there where that old solar panel is, but probably stork might not like it because it's too populated there. So on top of that, but that is also not a good place because the roofing material is kind of toxic. It's this asbesto stuff that they used in the past, and if we remove this, we need to get it handled properly as toxic waste. And after all, this building is to be demolished at some point, but for the moment it serves us well for certain things. It used to be the place to store straw, and we do this also when we have something smaller that we don't want to have lying around. And here and there we can also use it as a shelter for an animal that has an issue or has been very naughty, like Oliver. He has been in there for a moment when he was very naughty. But this is not the place for a stork. And on top of the silo there's the same thing as with the water tower. Up there is also an opening, and there is a reason why this has the shape it has, so that the stork won't build a nest up there. So we probably need to do something else, or get a piece of a tree like that post there. I have some instructions from Germany where they do this. They use 9-meter high spruce trunks, put them in concrete, and then put the platform on top. So that's something that we might do. So when we have nothing else to do and would want to do something nice, we buy such a trunk, and then we place this somewhere. It would be actually nice to place this somewhere over there, because down there is the pond and there is food, and would be very nice. The stork likes to have a place where he has a free space where he can see everything from his nest, so 360 vision, and therefore in a completely isolated area, no other trees around, that would be the perfect place. So if I move a little bit, so somewhere there in the center, that could be the place. We'll see. I have seen the stork now several times, so that one is coming here to eat at the very least. So there will be an opportunity.